right, so Lance, let's dive in here. We're gonna talk about some myths or some issues that instructors feel that TPI or feel that fitness in general might have, and then we've got some good questions here that we're going to cover. So let's just kind of dive in and start talking about some of these misconceptions that you've seen. What are some of I guess the first one that comes to mind? What are you thinking?
Oh, from a myth, from a golf instructor? Yeah.
Like a misconception that they might have.
Okay, this may not be the case so much anymore, but the myth that we're going to steal your client, that your client has to choose golf instruction or fitness. I think that's a huge myth because many golf pros have come to me and say, well, how long does my golfer need to work out before they're ready for golf lessons? I say, that's interesting because golf isn't just swinging a golf club. If my athlete isn't ready to actually hit a golf ball due to pain or physical capabilities, well, there's a lot of other things in the game of golf that golf instructors can work on. Management of short game, course management, putting, chipping, a lot of stuff that goes into it. So let's just dispel that myth right now. As a fitness medicine, I don't ever want to take a golfer away from lessons. In fact, I want them to be more capable of taking lessons immediately based on the work we do. So I would say that for first part is absolutely necessary to get across to the golf professionals.
Okay. Gotcha. One question that kind of goes along with this. So if I have a student and they get started on a training program, a fitness program, it's going to be 3 to 6 months long. What if they stick with it and actually do it? What kind of results do you expect to see from, let's just say, an average person, a guy in his, let's just say 50s who shoots in the 90s, something like that.
Yeah. All right. Well, that goes into a fitness myth that it takes 6 weeks to see a change, and that's something I get all the time from people. How long until I'm stronger, Lance? Well, strength comes in many different ways. The actual physical muscle adaptation. You lift, you break down your muscle tissue, it heals, and it's stronger. That process can indeed take up to 6 weeks to see a quantifiable change. But we're not talking about the neuromuscular component, too. That can change immediately. I can get somebody stronger in their 1 rep max based on making them more functional of an athlete today. So that's a tough question to answer. Anatomically, physiologically, if you're trying to change the structure of muscle tissue, it can take some time, be it flexibility or actual hypertrophy, if you will. But that's not the only thing we're looking for in golf. We're trying to establish mobility patterns, stability patterns, coordination, balance, endurance. And a lot of that stuff can be done very quickly, which tells me with that average golfer, middle-aged, shooting 90s, those guys and ladies can be really changed quickly. And then you can add a long-term component as well to add the hypertrophy if you need to. So in my fitness programs, I'm adding a short-term development program as well as a long-term development program on them. And another philosophy that I have is I need every session I work with somebody to see a change for the better that day. Now, you might say I want to bench press 200 pounds, all right? I might not be able to accomplish that on day one, but if I see a quantifiable change towards your long-term goal, if we do that every single time we work, guess what? We're going to hit your long-term goal at some point. So be it a myth that it takes 6 weeks, I don't know. Everybody's different, Cordy, so I just go with who I have, what I have to work with, but I do want to see a positive change every single time I work with them.
Yeah. So, I mean, the expectation coming out as an instructor, if they go work with a fitness person on the side, is going to be that they're going to have somebody who's, I don't know, what can they expect? If they're going to refer somebody to a TPI certified fitness person.
Well, what I think you should be able to expect is that we, as the pit crew for the golf instructors, are going to take your guidance for where you want to go with the golf swing and the golfer, and we are going to then physically evaluate the golfer to see if there's any roadblocks or hindrances, such as a physical limitation. If there is, we then have to assess each client individually as to this limitation is preventing you from getting where you want with your golf swing. and based on our experience, our knowledge, and science, how long is it going to take to overcome that particular hurdle? And then I would apply the short-term philosophy and the long-term philosophy to that hurdle, whatever hurdle it is. And so I've said this a million times. I've never built the same program twice. I have a lot of concepts that are same in each program for my golfers, but they're always going to have subtle different nuances based on what the coach wants to go, where the player wants to go, and it's an individual conversation with everyone. So again, I know I'm not giving you like it's going to be 3 weeks and 6 minutes to get better, but you kind of have to use your experience on it, plus the reassurance that, you know what, you won't reach your goal of 12 yards farther potentially today, but every single week, if you push closer toward it, we'll be there very shortly.
So that brings up a question for me of, let's say an instructor, they understand the importance of fitness. They understand the value of maybe even doing it themselves. What are the options out there? They can get certified. They can work with somebody. Like, what can they do to get started?
As an instructor?
Yeah, as an instructor.
My thing with instructors is I ask every one of the instructors I work with to become educated in my world. Do I need you to be able to do rehabilitation techniques for an ACL? No. Do I need you to know every muscle in the body? No. What I do want you to do is be highly educated in how the body works so that you can talk my language. Because I'm going to talk your language. And if you then talk mine, you're going to have a deeper understanding of what's needed in the golf swing for the direction you want to go with it from an anatomy and physiology standpoint. I don't have any problem with that. I think golf pros today are coming to me with questions that are well beyond the scope of what they learn in the PGM or PGA programs. Not to bash those programs, I'm just saying they're coming to me with high-level anatomy and physiology questions, and I'm like, darn, I got to do a lot of thinking. But then on the flip side, I know a lot of my trainers and medical people are coming to golf pros with a lot of questions about launch angles, TrackMan numbers, swing plane, ball flight laws that, in the past they would have no idea about. So become educated in other domains. It only helps your domain of specialty even further. That would be my recommendation for golf pros in that. And personally, I think the TPI system offers a great array of different options to learn, from a medical standpoint, fitness, to golf mechanics, to how to hit it farther, to junior development. So we've done a lot of research on them, and by no means is it the only data out there. I mean, we believe in every concept, but understanding how to put it into a framework is very, very efficient for the instructor as well.
So what have you seen work best? Is it best if an instructor goes out there and tries to go through 3 levels of a TPI certification and learn to do all this themselves? Is it best to just find a person that they can partner with? What do you think? Like, I'm sure it goes both ways sometimes, but what's your opinion?
I think that instructors should have a base level of proficiency in the body. You're teaching an athletic movement, regardless of what you think. Golf instructors teach an athletic movement. Having a foundation of how the body works is elemental for whatever golf style you choose. Now, I didn't say it has to be TPI. It could be anything. But I do think you need to have a foundational understanding of what you are teaching from how the body works, the arms and everything, head, body, core, pelvis. Once you have that, you become a better expert at implementing your values, your ideas, your swing thoughts. So to me, that's fundamental. I don't know why it's not mandatory in the PGM, PGA, LPGA training programs. I think it's the next phase of where a lot of them are going. I constantly get contacted by foreign countries, federations, and PGAs on putting this into their curriculum. I know Sweden does it, Spain does it, Holland is doing it, the Dutch, and the Colombian Federation is working very hard to get this. But from a standpoint of America, North American, it's not mandatory to learn this. Now, I think if you're going to be in a golf instructor category, PGA golf professional could mean you're running, events and pro shops and merchandise, but it also can mean instruction. You got to have a basic understanding of the human body. That's, if you want to compete with the other instructors out there, I think it's very important. So there's plenty of information out there. Just educating yourself, I think, is it sounds silly to me, but I think it's very necessary for us all.
So where's the best places to get education? TPI is one, obviously.
Yeah, I mean, I think TPI is great.
Yeah.
I've been to Nike Golf 360. I don't even know if they're still open for business, but that was a similar philosophy. Here's how we evaluate the body. Here's how it impacts the golf swing, and here's how you train on it. Now, half golf pros took it, half medicine fitness took it. I thought it was a very detailed class on the human body, and that's really what I'm going after is the human body. I think NASM has some sort of golf program as well. There's not a ton out there, but there's a lot of people teaching it out there in their own specific way. So personally, I just say invest the time into getting TPI certified or getting certified in something, and then just if you learn, you learn. That's Cordy, it's funny. I've seen a lot of the old school pros, if you will, like the old method teachers, really change their views on the body. I'll give you an example. Butch Harmon. Butch doesn't need this information. He was doing very well for a long time without it. But you fast forward 10 years from when he started, Butch is now really, he doesn't do all the fitness, but he wants to have an understanding, and all of the instructors, on what is needed for the body, what the body can physically do, so that it makes their teaching that much more effective. So it's a tool in the belt of his instructors and him. Does he use it every time? No, by no means. And all of our instructors are the same. They don't use TPI screens every single time, but if they need them, hey, guess what? That's a really good tool to have when we need it.
Gotcha. So let's talk on the business side. So you invest the money to get these certifications. What's the best way that you've seen somebody recoup that investment or build a program that has helped them, on the business aspect of this?
Well, to me, I always talk about this in class, paying for your seat. All right, you pay, let's just say for lack of a better way, $1,000, $1,500 plus expenses to be in that seat. How do you get that money back? Well, this is very important. Number one, you come out of any seminar or lecture series or certification program or higher learning, if you don't consider yourself more advanced than when you came into that program, you either didn't pay attention or we didn't do our job as instructors. So I'm asking people to question what they're charging. What is your value? What is your perceived value? And if it's not where I see others in the field, I'm just asking the question, are you where you need to be financially? So say you were $60 an hour for a lesson. Maybe you start considering, well, maybe $60 is fair in my area. What if you taught a lesson with 4 people? So instead of 1 hour, it was we'll say 3 hours. So you have 4 people for 3 hours, and instead of charging them $60, you charge them $90. So basically, in 3 hours, it would be $180, but you're only charging them $90. And you got 4 people just bouncing back and forth. So it's kind of a mini golf school. I see a lot of this going on, and 90 times 4, you're making $360 in 3 hours versus the $180 you made before. So you doubled your revenue, and all you did was offer a slightly different package. You're doing the same thing. You're still working 3 hours, but you're doubling your revenue. To me, that type of mentality pays for your education instantly. If not the simplest way, hey, raise your rates. Okay, you're charging $50 for an hour, and that's ridiculous. So you have to learn how to value yourself and not outprice yourself. I'm not by any means saying that, but if you're an expert and you truly believe in the body, and I will say this to all the golf pros listening, you have potentially more of a long-term lasting effect on someone's health, wellness, and physical ability than a physical trainer or a medical expert. I don't know why, but golf pros have this massive power over their clients because if you have a pool of 500 golfers that want to get better, they're going to listen to the golfer before they listen to the doctor. And my analogy is simple. I say, all right, I'm going to give you a choice. You can live 10 years longer. All right, by me, the medical guy, I'll give you some techniques. You can live 10 years longer. Or you, Cordy, as a golf pro, can give that same client 15 yards further instantly. The golfer's like, living 10 years would be really good, but I'm not sure what the future is going to be like. I'm going to take the 10 yards. I'm going to take the 15 yards, Cordy. I'm like, but hold on. I said you can live 15 years longer, 10 years longer. They're like, thank you, Lance. I appreciate it. I'm playing golf. So you got this real power over your golfers. So going back to my point, whatever you lead them in can really change their life. They want to play golf. You want to teach golf. But if you could teach life at the same time, wow, you are highly marketable. That $1,000, $1,500 you invest will be pennies compared to what you're making in the long run.
Yeah. So, if someone is going to run a program like that, what type of students have you seen it work best? Is it the juniors? Is it the middle age? What's the best market to go after?
Juniors are great because they tend to be more focused. Well, I shouldn't say that. They tend to be more, they'll buy into that philosophy because for some other reason, I think the message has gotten to the junior population better than it has to the adults, that you need to be strong, you need to be physically fit for golf to be able to play at the higher levels, because the kids turn on the TV and every single one of those golfers out there is, in shape, skinny, strong, and they're getting bigger, hitting it farther. So the kids are getting the message, and it's pretty understandable to get that trickled down to them. Now, to the adult population, it's a little harder unless they're hurting or kind of starting to lose their abilities that they once have. And I think you can use that as leverage to get them to buy into some sort of improvement of the body. And I'll be honest, I hate the word fitness. It's a big red flag. When you say fitness, everybody's turned off. Unless you're one of the low-hanging fruit, like you're one of the fitness freaks in the world, then you like it. But you take an average 45, 55-year-old golfer, they're like, I don't have time for fitness. I don't have time for this crap. So you're like, okay, well, let's not call it fitness. Let's just call it improving your body, however we have to do it. And at the end of the day, golf pros are driving that. They're driving that. What you say goes, basically. What you say goes.
All right, so we're going to run like a 3-hour junior program, the easiest win possible. I'm sure people are asking this, but what does the 3 hours look like? Like how do you incorporate this, go back and forth? You mentioned structure it out here a little bit.
All right, so it's simple. By no means this is the holy grail, but for 3 hours, I say the first thing I teach all my athletes, and I coached soccer for a long time. The first thing we taught our athletes at age 8, 9, how to warm up properly. That's number one. So every one of my soccer athletes, golf athletes, have to warm up, and it's a 7 to 10 minute routine that's going to incorporate everything that they do in golf swings, from shoulders to torso rotation, pelvic mechanics, foot mechanics, ankle mechanics, heart rate. You've got to be able to establish a routine that they can get to a baseline every time they come out to practice or play. So every day we wake up, we're in a different state than we were the day before. And the warm-up I use as a method to ramp ourselves up to game readiness or calm ourselves down to game readiness. So you might be super nervous, like, oh, I'm playing in the Masters today, I'm freaking out. Use your warm-up to level you. Or, oh, God, I'm really tired, I flew on that plane long. Use the warm-up to get you up. So that at least you're starting at the baseline. So inside that 3-hour window, let's work on a warm-up routine that gets them prepared. And then maybe modules, like we're gonna work on a long game module, followed by a brief fitness module, followed by a short game module, followed by maybe another fitness module. And I'm using the word fitness. I said I hated it, but movement module. So inside that 3-hour lesson, why not have your fitness pit crew person there or medical just there for an hour, taking the kids through just basic movement concepts that the golf pro is going to try to establish later on in the lesson. And now the golf pro doesn't have 3 hours of craziness. They have basically 2 hours of craziness. But they're watching, they're learning, and they're giving their students the best possible thing, more value for their dollar. Now, you don't have to do that. You can incorporate that yourself. But stuff like that is real simple. And, I see the best golf instructors not just banging balls all day. All right, so they're breaking it up every 10 to 15 minutes. It's a different focus to the same task and getting better at golf. We're going to do a different focus. We're going to talk about course management. We're going to talk about every aspect that is in golf, and you'll quickly find out 3 hours is not enough time. I don't know how people give 1 hour golf lessons and try to have long-term athletic development or long-term golf betterment at the center of the focus, because an hour just disappears so quickly, and what did you actually accomplish in it? So to me, I just question the model. And half-an-hour lessons, nothing more than a Band-Aid to me. Same thing with fitness. I don't know how people work for half an hour unless they're just coming in to get a blast and then out the door. I don't know. It's just tough to really change the body in half an hour. I know you can do it, but to me, It's tough. It's tough.
Yeah, I totally agree. We've been focusing a lot on coaching lately, just from a business standpoint being smart and from a student development standpoint being smart. So you're just echoing what we've been saying, which is awesome to hear.
Well, I will say this: I don't believe in developing athletes short term. If you're not going to be committed to a long term process, then I don't know. It doesn't fit my style. And I could be wrong, and maybe that makes me silly, or I'm going to lose a lot of money in the long run. But I think I gain more in the long run because I want a student for 10 years. I don't want a student for a month, if you will, because I want to see them change. I want to see them change and grow.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, so in your 3 hour model, you're working with a fitness professional. From your perspective as a fitness guy, how does an instructor develop a good relationship with a fitness person to partner with? Like, what do they say? How do they approach them? How does the relationship work? Like, I'm sure there's a lot of people who haven't done that, but they've wanted to, but they just don't really know what to
Well,
do.
here's the easiest thing. Every golf instructor out there, well, I won't say every, but majority of golf instructors play golf, and they're pretty good at it. They had to pass a PAT to get in there, most certainly. So what I'm saying is, if you're a golfer, you love the game, you're a golf instructor, you're going to play the game. Every single one of my TPI people will offer you help for free. I'm offering you help on your body for free. Yet I don't think a lot of golf instructors take it up on it because they're too busy, they don't have enough time, they don't believe in it, whatever their excuse is. I mean, heck, if I had a personal trainer, if I had a fitness specialist or a medical specialist that would work on me for free, sign me up because I need it. I need help. I'm in the fitness world. I'm in the medicine world. So everybody's like, whatever, Lance, you already know how to take care of yourself. I'm like, oh, I really need your help. So I'm saying go out and find these TPI people that we have told take care of your golf pros and don't charge them. So the first step to me is how can I help you improve your game, your body? How can I make you feel different? And once you as a golf pro see the benefits of our pit crew, um, I don't think it's a concern anymore. I think you just say, you know what, I believe in this and I want to go with it. My instructors that really believe in me, they don't question fitness. They don't question movement anymore. It's how can you help this player? How can you help this player? And it's just part of their philosophy, if you will.
Cool, cool. All right, so we've gone over why you need to learn about the body, why you need to learn about fitness. We've gone over how you can make your money back from going out and getting educated about this, the structure of that, how to partner with a fitness professional. Anything else that we've missed here in this process of going through some misconceptions or just things that aren't clear probably to a lot of people?
Well, one of the things that still lingers a little bit is that we're going to ruin your golfer with our techniques, if you will. I keep using air quotes. I'll try to stop. No, our job isn't to make your golfer like the David Duval scenario where you got big and bulky and could turn.
Yeah.
Those days are behind us. We're getting more specialized into movement and understanding exactly what the golf pro wants out of the golf swing. And to be honest, a lot of those changes are very subtle. And once you make them, the golf pro can do a ton more with their golfers. So I always tell people golf fitness and beach fitness are way different. Beach fitness is over here on the spectrum. Golf fitness is over here. Golf fitness may not even be picking up a weight. Might not even be on a treadmill. It's a lot less. It can be a lot less intense than regular fitness, beach fitness. But I'd say our job is not to make your golfer worse. It's to reinforce what you're trying to do with it. And if my fitness people aren't in communication and working on the golf pros agenda, golf pros, I'm telling you, get another fitness person. I don't have a problem telling that because we're not the kings of the food chain in the fitness medical world. We're just your pick. We're your support team. So we better damn well be following the agenda that you lay out because if we're not, you're taking the athlete in two different directions, and that's a big no-no in this industry.
Awesome. I love that. Let's head into some questions here. I threw a post up on the Young Teaching Professionals Facebook group. We got some good stuff. Let's start off with Andrew Rice. Gotta start with this one. Do golfers get significantly longer when they work out?
Andrew Rice, very great instructor, very knowledgeable, one of the smartest guys out there. So
Yeah.
The answer to Andrew's question is, do golfers get significantly longer when they work out? No. They can get shorter, right? They can get moderately longer. They can get maximally longer. It all depends on how you work them out. I will say, though, that if you properly create a workout routine with a focus on what Andrew's doing with his students, you are giving the athlete the potential to be longer. Take, for instance, you could take any linebacker in the NFL right now. They're much bigger than me. I probably can hit the golf ball at 6 feet tall, 190 pounds, farther than any linebacker in the NFL. And I'm not an athlete right now compared to those guys. So you've got to be careful on how you develop the athlete. Strength and size and bulkiness doesn't equal power. So no, Andrew, just by working them out doesn't mean they're going to get longer. But if you do it the right way, it gives you the potential to make them longer. Here's the story. One of my LPGA girls has been somewhat reluctant to work out forever, and over the last 5 years, we're slowly integrating concepts of fitness into her lifestyle. Now, here's the thing: 5 years ago, she was amongst the longest of her age group. All right. As you move up the competition ladder, all of a sudden, she finds herself average, dead average when she gets to the LPGA Tour. It's like, I need to be longer. It's like, we know this. But the fitness that we slowly kicked in over the last year has ramped up because she visually saw the difference. And it's taken one whole year of her fitness focus to now all of a sudden kick in. This year she's 10 meters farther with every club. To me, that's like, okay, that was a 5-year process to get 10 meters. Now, that wasn't fully committed buying in. It did happen, though, but it takes a long time. So, Andrew, you just got to have a team that you trust and you can work on in both aspects to accomplish that goal.
I feel like that the problem is understanding expectations when really committing to training.
Yeah.
Like you don't know what to expect, and I feel like that's a recurring theme here. As I've talked to people, as I've asked people things like, for instance, your TPI handicap after you get assessed, right?
Mm-hmm.
I talked to somebody who was saying that he knew a guy that was at a 18 or a 19, but was better than scratch. He was a plus golfer. So like what can you expect? Like, let's say you go through the assessment, and you score an 18, but you're a scratch golfer. You get that down to 10. Like, have you gotten better? Like, what? I mean,
well,
what do you expect?
Physical dysfunction can take away from consistency. It can take away from power, and it can cause injury. So, say you're a scratch golfer, but you're at 18 fitness handicap for TPI or whoever. Would I use that as a barometer for success? Where do you stand? I mean, is there room for improvement physically? I'm always looking at my golfers, and okay, here's a theory. If I took 10 glasses and put them all on a line right here, each glass had a different title: distance, short game, putting, fitness, strength, balance, course management. And you took each glass and you filled it up with water. If the glass was perfectly full, that means you have absolute mastery of that topic. If the glass is empty, it means you have no mastery. I'll fill all 10 glasses up to their appropriate level, and I'll look at them and I'll say, I'm going to take the lowest glass and the highest. And if I take the lowest glass and it was fitness, that just tells me you have potential there to help out. Just because I make somebody physically fit doesn't mean they're going to be a good golfer. But if you make them physically fit and then you reinforce that with good instruction for those physical characteristics that you've improved, you have a golfer that's going to be less injured, more consistent, and be able to produce more power. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think so. So you might look at as consistency or injury prevention.
I look at it as a potential. So if your
Okay.
handicap is way above your golf handicap, you have the potential now to improve on certain areas. You take a golf ball. That can't be improved very much due to regulations, but the body can be improved. We've seen hundreds and thousands of golfers that are really good golfers that you can improve with just slight tweaks of their body. Now, what can you do on the other end of the point? You can royally screw them up. I think Inbee Park was an example of that. She was playing well, and she went on this program to lose all this weight and get in shape, and then all of a sudden her golf game went totally in the proverbial shitter, if you will. Then she's like, no, I'm going to get back to normal. Her what works for her, which wasn't physically fit, what we would say in normal life, but it produced a whole bunch of wins for her. So everybody's got their own, moderate zone, their own hot zone, if you will. Doesn't mean we all have to look like Adam Scott.
Yeah.
Although we want to.
Gotcha. So, I guess by lowering that, that fitness handicap,
Mm-hmm.
it doesn't mean lower scores necessarily.
No.
Okay.
No, it doesn't.
All right.
Not at all.
I feel good about moving on now.
Okay, good.
All right. How effective is transfer training in hitting a golf ball well?
Yeah, it can be highly effective. So let's talk about transfer training. Our goal is to hit a golf ball farther, straighter, with less pain. A lot of times we'll transfer to different sports, give analogies on how to do that in order to accomplish the goal. I use it a lot, but you have to know when to use it. I mean, here's an example. Okay, so your swing plane is over the top. You're pulling everything with a big slice back to the middle. You see that a lot. If you try to go with the theory, I want you to hit this golf ball out to right field. So we're lining up to center field, and you want to hit it out to right field. But you're working with a cricket player from India. They're like, what are you talking about? I have no idea. So that example of a transfer training might not be effective. Knowing when to use transfer is important. And I always try to stick to sports that the golfer had previously played. So a lot of my golfers, we use tennis, we use baseball, we use football, hockey. I've used cricket before sometimes. But you got to use a sport that they have a foundation in, and ultimately use that and then immediately go back to golf so you can apply it. And make sure you're understanding. You got to know the differences between the sports. For instance, batting. When you talk about batting, like starting with your hips first, torso second, then delivering with the arms, basically the batting plane is horizontal. Golf plane is going to go more down to the ground. So you have to be able to take the philosophy and then transfer it directly into the sport that you're using. So I think it's very helpful, but don't stay on it too long, and make sure you dose it properly.
Cool. How often is injury, pain in tour players due to physical issues rather than technical, considering that most work out yet still get injured?
Don't they go hand in hand? See, it's hard to differentiate that. Let's just look at the facts. Tour pros hit more golf balls than anybody on earth. I mean, they're hitting millions of golf balls. Golf at that level is a vicious sport. It's probably the most taxing on the body than anything else, maybe outside of NFL, which is a car crash in every play, or hockey. I just will say that if you hit a million golf balls, no matter how strong your body is, it's going to break down at some point. Now, is that a physical issue or a technical issue? It's hard to tell. These guys are so good with their bodies for their golf swings that it's hard to always point it to a physical, but it can be. I mean, for instance, what if Zach Johnson flies on a plane from here to Abu Dhabi, gets off the plane after 24 hours, and tries to go play, and he's got a little pain in his lumbar spine? That's not normal. That might be a physical issue from being on a plane inactive for 24 hours. That could be an issue. Or it could be a long-term onset, which is resulting from just a slight variation in proper posture or a poor impact position. So at the end of the day, almost all tour players get hurt at some point. It's the major injuries we're trying to prevent. You hit a million golf balls, you're going to get hurt. If you take a million foul shots, your elbow's going to hurt at some point because it's kind of wearing down. So let's try to moderate how much discomfort we get by keeping the body strong and always focusing on the fundamentals from a technical standpoint. Then you give your athlete the best chance to not be hurt. And if you want me to go farther on that subject, I think you have to add the most important element of training that's often overlooked. It's called recovery. When do golfers recover? On the highest level, they go to a tournament on Monday to practice, Tuesday practice, Wednesday is a pro-am, Thursday through Sunday is the tournament, then they fly from Sunday Then where are they next? Oh, they're at the next stop Monday. They play 14 to 21 days straight golf. Where's the recovery? There is none. The body needs recovery in order to be very successful. You'll see guys like Steve Stricker. Tiger was very notorious for this. They would pick their own schedules. I'm going to play 20 events. I'm going to play 2 weeks in a row, 2 weeks off, 2 weeks in a row, because they know the recovery is best. How can Steve Stricker, every time he goes out, play well? He plays 10 events a year because he knows how to get ready for his events, whereas other golfers feel like they're under the gun and have to play 54 weeks in a row. That's just brutal on the body. It really ends up hurting the body.
Have you seen any on that recovery kind of path for people that work with juniors? Have you seen any research or any stats around like what needs to happen with juniors in recovery and the issues that happen when they get pushed to the extreme with training and tournaments and stuff like that?
Yeah, well, I won't speak from a research point of view because I don't know any offhand, but I will say from my subjective personal view is that I see a higher risk of juniors getting hurt. Well, a higher incident rate of juniors getting hurt with lower back injuries right now. Primarily because we're absolutely driving them to be really good golfers. And if a junior shows us talent or potential and they feel like they're going to be at that next level, what they immediately try to do is mimic the golfers' numbers that are on tour. So here's a case where science really can get us. Well, Tiger Woods is producing a ball speed of 175 miles per hour. His launch angle is this. His spin rates are this. What the junior at age 15 does is then goes and tries to mimic that. And I believe in hitting the ball farther for juniors and teaching them how to hit it farther, and then we'll find the fairway later. But the problem is if we try to get them into adult male categories or adult female for the ladies, all we're doing is asking a 14-year-old who's in puberty to do something a man's doing. Sadly enough, you look at a 14-year-old physiology, they're not made for that. Their bones are growing at different lengths. Their muscles are weaker here, stronger here. All you're doing is putting undue stress on parts of the body that don't need it. And I think that's lending to why some of our high-level juniors are going down with these massive back injuries and having surgeries. And I'm hoping that we as a community really understand that so we can make changes in how our juniors are practicing. Going to your question a little bit deeper is recovery for juniors. You take a kid, male or female, going through a growth spurt, the one thing they need the most is rest, recovery, because their body is growing, changing, adapting. And so what do our school systems do? Okay, they jam homework on top of homework, and then they ask them to be there at 7:30 in the morning. Kids are doing homework to 9, 10 at night, and they get 6, 7 hours of sleep. These kids need upwards of 10 hours of sleep a day just to be able to recover from the abuse that Mother Nature is putting on their body. So I have a problem with the school system and the way schools are set up on times, as well as how we want these kids to do 2, 3 sports, and they're overloaded, to be honest with you. Go look at any 15-year-old boy, man. They're tired as heck.
So
Go on.
So if I'm running a monthly junior coaching program, let's say they're coming like 2-3 times a week to 2-hour training sessions. On top of that, they're playing tournaments, whatever, a normal schedule. And we continue this during the off season. Should like month-long breaks be scheduled in? Like, what do you think would be ideal?
Well, Jason Glass does a really good job at this. He's up in Canada, in Vancouver, and he runs a junior academy, basically. And the kids do that. They come in for 1 or 2 sessions a week, and the first hour of the session is golf instruction, followed by fitness or body movement. So they have 2 hours a week with their staff, with their team. And Jason will periodize his whole season into movement correction, power strength establishment, foundational training, and then gameplay. So based on the time of year you're in for the juniors, he's training his golfers, but he's also educating them. Every week it's, okay, how much are you drinking, water, how much rest are you getting? He's actually educating them on the different aspects of fitness that the kids really don't comprehend. Their mentality is, if I lift more and I work out more, I'm better. But that's not always the case, because not one kid out there will say, if I sleep more, I'll be stronger. Because we equate sleeping with laziness, when it is not. It is not. So I think Jason's a leader in that aspect, and his kids are getting stronger and they're producing results. So to me, it's just a matter of education.
So it gets back to that first point of we have incorrect perceptions of fitness because we don't make a plan to begin with, right? So if you have the plan to begin with, you're going to understand what your goals are, where you're headed, and then you're going to schedule in recovery and rest and things like that to have a holistic look.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I think and that goes for golf, like on course too. How many golf instructors actually have how many golf instructors I'm going to ask you this. I want to take a lesson with you, Cordy, for an hour. You're like, okay, we're going to go to the grocery store. That's where our lesson is. Have you ever taken your golfer to a grocery store to Whole Foods? Most golfers are like, what in the hell are you talking about? But I think golf pros need to talk to their students on how to eat properly on the course before a round and after a round so that they can get the most out of the round. Nutrition is the most overlooked thing in this whole equation on both recovery and performance and endurance, if you will. By the time you're hungry on a golf course, it's too late. You're already making bad choices mentally. Same for thirst. Same for water. But a golf pro, talk about outside the box thinking. Why can't a golf pro educate on nutrition? I think they can. So it's stuff like that it definitely is more holistic, if you will.
Here's the counter on that is someone might say, like, there's no way I can get anybody interested in doing that. Like, I might have one person, and obviously the education needs to start with the instructor. That's why we're doing this. That's why I wanted you to come on. Is it starts with instructors and then it feeds down to educating students. What's the pitch, right? How do I get Scott over there who's in his 40s and just wants to hit his driver 10 yards further to take a trip with me to not take a trip to the grocery store, but educate on.
Greg Rose he's funny because he'll always his philosophy is turn it back and make the client make the mistake in explaining what they want. So you want to hit the ball farther? Yes. That's all I want to do. Okay, so you want to hit the ball like Tiger Woods? Yes, I absolutely. And so you establish the fact that they want to hit the ball like somebody else. And you say, okay, so this is what Tiger does. He eats like this. He sleeps like this. He works out like this. He has this type of coach. Blah blah blah. Okay, so are you willing to do that? Well, no. But you told me you want to hit the ball like him. So if you can use examples like that, turning it back onto the client and making them explain what they want, and then verifying that what you were about to teach them is exactly what they need, they oftentimes put themselves in a place where they're like, oh, okay. Now, do you take them to Whole Foods on your first lesson? Probably not. These are things that you can, after you build trust in them, you kind of just add these different little modules into it. But you think about it, diversifying you as a golf instructor there's 27,000 out there. How do you establish yourself as better than the one next to you? Well, that's how you do it, I think. I know a lot about the body. I know a lot about nutrition. I have my whole pit crew around me. If you work with me, you're going to get better because I'm holistic. I believe in everything, and I'm not letting any stone unturned. From the client perspective, if I have to make choices, I'm going to go with the person that's more comprehensive, for sure. For sure.
Awesome. I feel like this is a good place. I feel like we hit a lot of things here. We answered a lot of questions. We got through a lot of misconceptions. Is there a final message or anything that you need to say to instructors out there?
My message would be this. I know all of you work hard, you work long, and you're experts in your field. I want you to try to take one step for your own health, for your own well-being, and try to get some guidance from professionals like myself, not for your students, but for you. Every single golf pro out there is hurting or is, think about it. You're working 10 hours a day and you're always in these funky positions. You need help. So let us help you trust in your fitness team, build a relationship, and where it goes from there, you decide. But you also have the ability to make a big impact on your client's life. So make sure that you take that responsibility seriously.
And what's the website to find TPI certified folks in their area?
It's just www.mytpi.com, and then there's a button on every page that says Find an Expert, and it's really that simple. So, and if they won't look at you for free, you tell them Lance said to make sure they do that, because I want to take care of our golf pros and help establish better relationships.
Awesome. And if people want to check out what you're doing or follow you on Twitter, how can they do that?
Well, my Twitter handle is LGP_Inc. This is LGP_INC. Facebook is Lance Gill Performance. Check it out. What I like to do is my posts are always geared at like golf instruction or fitness and how they blend together, as well as crossover. So I'll put a lot of different sports in there, even music. I've got some course on music and how we can take and draw from other areas of life to become better.
Awesome. We'll link that up in the show notes on golfinthelifeof.com. But hey, Lance, thanks so much. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Cordy. I appreciate it. You guys are doing a great job. And, if you ever need anything, let me know.
Awesome.